Vamos a analizar una nueva coyuntura.
We will analyze the new situation in Venezuela. We saw the political situation which existed when Chavez won. Now we will see the political situation that was created shortly before the military coup of April 2002. At the end of 2001, Chavez has succeeded in getting Parliament to accept an enabling law that is a law which permits the executive to draw up laws and approve them rapidly, given that the National Assembly did not have the capability to draw up all these laws. And you know that a constitution without laws is like a skeleton without flesh. Therefore, flesh has to be put on the skeleton. Laws has to be made which enable specific work to be done. Because if you have a constitution and laws which are contrary to the spirit of the constitution, you cannot act legally in the country. It was in this way that quite a lot of laws were passed, as the law of land, the law of fishing, the law of hydrocarbons, the law of microcredits, the law of cooperatives. These were laws that for the first time took some minimal privilege away from the ruling class, and immediately there was a huge reaction from the Venezuelan oligarchy. This one, which has not heard the message from John Kennedy, the liberal president of the United States in the early 1960s, Kennedy, facing the victory of the Cuban Revolution, had understood very well that if Latin American oligarchy did not give up privileges, if those oligarchies were incapable of better distribution of wealth, then they would suffer the same fate as befell the oligarchs in Cuba. The only ruling sector which accepted and applied Kennedy's policies in Latin America was the Christian democracy in Chile. The rest of the countries of Latin America, the rest of the oligarchies, simply did nothing. The latifundistas, large landowners, continued to exist and did the huge social difference between the ruling class and the popular sectors. Then the opposition, led by the oligarchy, reacted, and the media dominated by it. This media played the role of the political parties in Venezuela because the traditional political parties, the right-wing ones, has remained very weak after the Constituent Assembly. What happened to the middle classes? The middle classes began to withdraw their support to Chavez. There were policies of Chavez, and especially the speeches, ways of referring to them in the Lo Presidente that has hurt them deeply. And as a result, he began losing their support. And among them, the self-same Michelena, who was a fundamental participant of the Constituent Assembly, and a person trusted by Chavez at that time.
Cuando se planteó el tema del rechazo de la oligarquía a las leyes,
Michelena tried to convince Chavez to stop and not to go against the oligarchy. Chavez told him, "No, I cannot do that. I went through an election to advance a process of transformation, not for governing without being able to govern." And in that moment, the separation between Michelena and Chavez began. Consider the situation in that moment in the Supreme Court. The correlation of forces was such that out of 20 judges, 11 were in the opinion that there has not been coup d'etat in April 2002. Who were the components of the oligarchic group that opposed Chavez? Generals that participated in the coup, business sectors members of Fedecámara, the Bourgeois Employers Association. The Workers' Confederation of Venezuela ruled by those sectors, the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, the media, which had a protagonistic role in organizing the groups, sectors of the middle classes influenced by those medias. Also acting against President Chavez were the ambassador of Spain and the ambassador of the United States. The coup was certainly successful, and Chavez was imprisoned. However, as everyone knows, the popular reaction ensured that in less than 48 hours Chavez was returned to his post, and the illegally installed President Carmona has to flee the country after less than 24 hours in office. Who were those components of the revolutionary bloc that upset the coup? Well, basically, the armed forces and the people, among them especially the popular sectors of the popular neighborhoods and the workers. Now, it's important to ask why the army in Venezuela is different. The army supporting President Chavez was not trained in the School of America. There was a Venezuelan military academy which was developed. The military studied political science and thinkers about democracy. They analyzed Venezuela reality, and as students they could exchange with other students in the universities. On the other hand, this army did not take action against the guerrillas. Notice that when they went to look for the guerrilleros, what did they find? They didn't find guerrilleros. They found very poor people, and at times shared their food ration with them, because they were upset that these people had nothing to eat. That same contrast between the poverty of the people and the wealth of the Venezuelan oligarchy was what awakened the consciousness of an important sector of the military. On the other hand, in Venezuela, there are not, like in other countries, military castes, and generally soldiers of high rank do not come from oligarchic families or from very rich families, but on the contrary, from poor families. Now, something happened in the revolutionary process which is very important, and it happened at that time in Venezuela, the rapid apprenticeship of the people in revolutionary processes in time of revolution. Lenin says that the people learned more in hours of revolution, of revolutionary shake-ups, than in 15 years of study text and political education. And that was what happened with the people in Venezuela. These occurrences increased their consciousness enormously.
¿Qué ocurre después del golpe de abril?
What happened after the coup of April? Domestically, what was achieved? First, a people with a growing political consciousness, a purging of the armed forces, because those who were coup supporters were revealed. The opposition finished up divided between sectors who wanted to continue the coup and institutional sectors who wanted to respect procedures. The middle classes who has distanced themselves again come closer when they saw that the really only possible government was that of Chavez. There was a growing popular support. Popular organizing accelerated. Workers began to form their first autonomous union, separate from the CTV, the old union, which was dominated by the sectors of the influenced by the ruling class. New actors arose in the political scene. It is interesting to see that one important actor were the motorcyclists, those people who errant on motorbikes. They organized themselves and were the means for communication with the poor neighborhoods, because they moved rapidly from one place to another in Caracas. Caracas is a city with horrendous traffic, and it's only possible to travel quickly by motorcycle. They organized themselves as a group in support of the president. Also, new organizations appeared as forms of popular organization, and the leftist party that were very divided began to redefine themselves. Internationally, what was achieved is very important, because clearly nobody could now doubt the authentic democratic character of the process defended by its people.